Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in my garage for another First Impressions video. I have been really good the past few days and nights after getting home from work, going to the range and trying to film content because I have a huge stack of stuff that I have to review. I've also been really good on working through the pile of products that I need to review. I've really been very busy and trying to be very diligent in keeping on track because I never want to borrow anybody's stuff for too long. I want to make sure I get it back to them in a timely manner. And all three of the guns that we have on the table tonight that I'm going to talk about are all on loan to the channel from my friend D, because he's lent the most of the channel right now and I want to kind of get through his pile. As soon as I get done with these, I'll probably move on to the rifle that Richard lent and some stuff that Jack lent. But this is what I got going on right now. And I have to remind you once again that this is going to be a little bit of a caveat to this video. If you're watching this video for the first time, you see the title, you see the name of these guns in the title, this is not an official review. This is my behind the scenes channel where I come home from the range and I just tell people what my initial thoughts are, and then these will get properly reviewed and they will be put up on my main channel. And there's a link to my main channel in the description below. So let's talk about the guns that I took to the range. I took two 2011 style pistols to the range. I have the Atlas Gunworks Erebus and the Phoenix Trinity Desert Pro. Now, one of the things I have mentioned in many videos in the past is I jokingly say these high-end gun companies really need to hire me for product testing and evaluation. And it's not because I torture test their guns or do anything that would stress them out in any way. I just go to the range normally and just shoot them like a regular gun guy would. Inevitably, I will find something wrong. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big. Often it's something that could have been caught in quality control. And both of these pistols have something. One's really tiny and one's kind of big. So let's start with the Atlas Gunworks Erebus. This is actually, based off of my research, the Erebus V2 or the version 2 because we have a modular grip panel system here. The V1 or the original did not have that. And I really like the way this one is set up. I know that does not look like it would be very comfortable, but actually it kind of is. So my experience with this gun is very positive overall. It is very accurate. It seems to be well built, but I have two issues with it, okay? The first one is honestly kind of a big deal, and I will show you what that issue is. So let me go ahead and safety check the gun. So I will pull the slide back. Okay, we can visually inspect the gun, see there's nothing in there. And now I'm going to let the slide go. And because there's a magazine in the gun, what do you think is going to happen? That's right, the slide should stay locked back. Uh-oh. Nope, that's not happening. So I can tap the magazine, make sure it's fully seated. I can drop the mag, put it in there, not working. So I know what some people are saying, Jason, that must mean it's a bad mag. Well, you're right, it could be. So why don't I take the magazine out of the Phoenix Trinity, which obviously works. Take this magazine, different manufacturer, put it into this gun. Yeah, it doesn't work either. No 2011 magazine that I have available to me will lock this slide open. There's something wrong with the slide stop. So it's obviously not the magazine. So what's the issue? I don't know. Now, would Atlas Gunworks fix this issue? I'm 100% sure that they would. This probably needs to go back to them because all their parts are hand fit. Okay, they're finely crafted and well-tuned machines. However, this is something that should have gotten caught in quality control, okay? And when you're paying this much for a pistol, which, by the way, this is a very expensive pistol, this is unacceptable. I'm sorry, I would expect that from a Arms Corps, Rock Island Armory, 2011, or sorry, not 2011, 1911. That's what I would expect, okay? But even those guns, I've never had issues with them, okay? Those Philippine-made guns. This is honestly unacceptable. So that was issue number one. I discovered it with the first magazine because at the very end, I have a click instead of a bang. Now, the other issue I have with this is the trigger. And the problem I have with the trigger on this one is, honestly, I think it's a little bit too light. Now, I do like these 2011s as target guns. I don't own one personally, and I've kind of grown a little bit of a fondness towards them, especially the staccatos. But I like to stage my triggers. And I know that some people say, it's not always good to do that. So when I did the second test, which I call the further distance test, I have no better name for it. Essentially, after the first magazine of just figuring out how the gun functions, how it works, what I like about it, what it feels like to shoot it, I'll double the distance of the target, typically go for the head if I'm shooting at a silhouette target. And I will stage the trigger. So essentially, I will pull the trigger back to the wall, stage it, and then with just a little bit of effort, I can get that hammer to fall if it's a really nice trigger, and that usually produces the tightest and the best groups for me. This gun surprised me a number of times, meaning I'm just staging it went off. Now, I still got a good group with it, but it went off before I was expecting it to. It's too light. Some people might call it a hair trigger. I don't think it's a hair trigger, but it's going to be super light. Probably too light, in my opinion. This is probably the lightest 2011 pistol when it comes to the trigger pull I've ever reviewed. I need it to be a little bit heavier. I need to have that wall to stage, especially if I'm doing like precision, longer range stuff, or just trying to get the best group possible and not trying to rush my shots. I need that. So between the slide knot locking open and that, everything else was great. Super accurate. It works well. No failures to feed, failures to eject. Great accuracy. But those were my two issues with this particular pistol. So I haven't looked at the range footage yet, but I'm assuming I'm going to give it a pretty good review. In fact, let me adjust the camera here. There we go. I'm going to give it a really good rating. So, but that's the issues I had with that. And as I said, that slide not locking open is a huge quality control issue. All right, so let's move on to the other 2011 pistol here. And that, of course, is the Phoenix Trinity Desert Pro. And isn't that such a pretty gun? Now, I have to say, I'm not as big of a fan of the gold coloration and accents. I think that looks a little bit on the gaudy side. I would kind of prefer them to be in black or silver, but that's just me personally. Beautiful Cerakote job, though. It kind of looks like the Sand Viper, if you guys know which gun I'm talking about. That's kind of what it looks like with this angled front to it. I think it's more of a commander size. It seems to be a little bit shorter, very comfortable grip. The trigger on this one, even though it is flat face, it doesn't have any like little curves at the bottom or the top. It's a really nice trigger. I can stage it really well. And the issue, before I tell you my impressions with this gun, pistol, let me tell you the issue I had. And I think I showed this to you in the, upcoming projects video on this gun. Take a look at this fiber optic sight. Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, and I even tried to fix it, and it's already been cut. And normally when it comes to these fiber optic sights, if you take a little lighter to them, normally the front will melt a little bit and hold it in there. I tried that, but whoever installed that fiber optic front sight did not do a good job, and at the range it fell off, and luckily I was able to find it. So that's a quality control thing that should have been caught. Very, very, very minor, can easily be fixed. But as I said, when you're paying this much for a gun, I expect it to be perfect, okay? I am not somebody that's going to be a fan of any company or, do the whole worship. Oh my God, they're great. I'm going to tell you the honest truth of what happened. That's why I say these companies need to hire me for product testing, because I will inevitably find a flaw with their gun that they need to take a look at. And the fiber optic front sight in this one was the issue. Now, everything else about this gun is absolutely amazing. I think this one is going to be either the best 2011 I've ever shot, or it's the second best 2011 I have ever shot. It's going to be this or the Staccato XL limited edition with the island barrel. I shot that one amazing too. This one is quite amazing. The trigger in it is absolutely perfect for me. I can't miss with it. It's honestly a tack driver. It's kind of scary how good this gun is. Okay, and I know that some people will make fun of my reviews and go, "You're a terrible shot," if I'm reviewing a gun that I don't shoot well. No, this gun is absolutely amazing. I have never shot a gun like this before. Like, this is, well, okay, maybe that's Staccato. This is hands down one of the nicest pistols I've ever shot. It's still not my cup of tea. It has those gold accents, and it's a competition, target gun. I'm more into the tactical stuff. But when it comes to the shooting experience, this is a beyond 5-star review. Except for that fiber optic sight. Small little gripe. But once again, I think you would be pissed if you went out and bought a Ferrari or a Porsche or a Lamborghini and drove it off the lot, and literally in the first mile you have parts coming off the car. Okay? You'd be like, I just spent all this money on this. This is unacceptable. That's unacceptable. But everything else, unbelievable. Unbelievable pistol. Ran flawlessly. This thing is awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay, so as you can see, this was an amazing experience. And then finally, we have the Knights Armament SR-30. So this is in 300 blackout. And I didn't know what to really think of it going into the review. I like Knights Armament stuff. And for me, in general, 300 blackout is a love-hate caliber. Because for me, it's a finicky caliber depending on the gun. Because a lot of people will say these 300 blackouts really are designed for subsonic ammunition. It's where they shine because they can be so quiet. And I agree. The problem is, with subsonic ammunition and all the different loadings, all the different grain weights, unless you know exactly what your gun likes and have it tuned for that specific ammunition and have enough of it, it's kind of a crapshoot. And that's kind of what I experienced with this gun, with subsonic ammunition. Now, I will say, when I kind of did my initial test with it, like my first shots, I do super and subs, it ran. But it was like in that in-between area between, it's almost short stroking, but it's not. Meaning the bolt comes back far enough to pick up the next round, but when the magazine is empty, it doesn't lock open. Now, I did have one magazine where it was like a single shot, and it was the same ammunition I was using before, where I guess it's just, as I said, just right on the cusp of being just powerful enough to cycle the action. And it was, I have all the boxes saved and all the information on the ammunition, but it was 200 grain, I think it was Winchester, 200 grain subsonic ammunition. Now, supersonic in this thing runs like a top. And I feel like this gun, because it does not have an adjustable gas block, this gun is designed for supersonic ammunition because I think it is undergassed. I really feel like they've constricted the gas. That's probably why the subs don't run very effectively in it or efficiently in it. But in supersonic, it runs very, very smooth, very light recoiling. And with the suppressor, it sounds like it's subsonic. Maybe I should have gotten out the chronograph on it, but it was a very pleasurable experience. And honestly, this gun running supersonics is an amazing gun. It's an amazing gun. And I think this is going to be my favorite Knights Armament rifle or firearm I have ever shot. This is awesome. And I did not think that was going to be the case. But for the most part, in the range report, I review this as a defensive carbine running supersonic ammunition because it's the most effective and it's the most reliable in this gun. But I do shoot some subsonics through it. I was partially successful, half successful, I should say. but the bolt will not lock open after the last round, and sometimes it was kind of a crapshoot. Will it cycle? Will it not? I don't know. But supers in this thing are amazing. It's very light recoiling, exceptionally accurate, and with this Knight's Armament suppressor, which I know some people are going to want to know what the model is, it is the 762 QDC CRS PRG. So it's kind of a big one, and it's a 30 cal suppressor, and this thing is awesome. So this whole package is absolutely amazing, and hands down my favorite Knight's Armament, which surprises me because it's in 300 blackout, which I do love, but I also hate. Because if you, as I said, if you don't have the right ammunition for the gun you're shooting, and a lot of it, it's a miserable experience because you're like, oh crap, this stuff's short strokes. Oh, I don't want to run supers in this. Or sometimes, I don't know. And then it's overgassed and undergassed. You're constantly changing the adjustable gas block to get it tuned in just right. I want a 300 blackout that runs like a 5.56 AR. No settings, and it just runs. And this is the closest thing I've ever had to that. And if I'm just running supersonics, it runs great. Subsonic, I'm sure I can find the right loading for it, but there's no adjustable gas block. It just runs. It's not overgassed. It just works. Now, there is one thing about the gun that I do not like, okay? And this is something that's really not going to affect many of us at all, unless you have some desire to install a binary trigger or like an FRT trigger in one of these, which I know that some people that own these are going to do that, okay? Now, personally, I wouldn't. I like to keep all of my really expensive, like, Knight's Armament guns, all Knight's Armament. But some people are going to buy this and be like, I want to have this trigger in there. So any of those aftermarket triggers that have, like, a third position to it, you're not going to like this. Knight's Armament put on a little tiny bump right there, which would prevent a safety selector switch from going any further than that. So if you have a binary trigger and want to put it in binary mode, I think it would fit in the lower, but because of this little nub here, you're not going to be able to push that safety selector switch up here, and you're not going to be able to activate it. Yeah, that kind of sucks. So that's designed probably to prevent it from going too far, but if you had to mill that off to make it work, I guess you could, but that would be like defacing a really expensive firearm. So I wouldn't do that. I mean, yeah, you could, but man, you spend all this money, you probably want to run a binary trigger. Now, I don't run binary triggers or FRTs or any of that, but I can see some people not liking that. So I don't like that feature. I don't know what that's all about, but this gun ran great, and I have very positive thoughts about it as well. And my favorite Knight's Armament gun ever, and I love the fact it's simple. Keep it simple, stupid. It just runs with supers great, very soft shooting, very quiet with the suppressor. Even unsuppressed, it's not bad. And with supers, it almost runs. But there you go. So that's my experience with these. I still have to go review the range footage, check everything out, and then kind of create the bullet point scripts, and then film the videos out here. And that's what I will be working on in the next few days. So I just wanted to share those experiences with you, see what you guys think, and what do you guys think about the Atlas Gunworks Erebus with that problem, okay? So once again, thanks for joining me here in the garage, and what can the word of the day be? If you made it to the end of this video, the word of the day is going to be, problem. Problem is the word of the day because I had problems with 2 of these guns. And do you guys agree with me that if you're spending this much money on a gun, it should come from the factory perfect, okay? And I guess my email inbox will be open to any gun companies that want to hire me as a product tester. Just send me an example of your product, let me take it to the range, and I guarantee you I will break it, bust it, find a problem with it, and then send it back, and you guys can fix it and know what to do with the rest of your product line, because I seem to be an expert at this, and I don't even treat the guns harshly, bad, or try to hurt them. I just try to go to the range and have a regular range experience with one as an average gun guy. So there you go. Problem is the word of the day. Thanks for joining me here in the garage. And what awesome guns I got to review. All great experiences. All shot well. All super accurate. All reliable. I just had a couple issues with them. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and thank you for joining me here in the garage. And as always, thanks for watching.